Bloody Mary is a female demon, and one can summon her in a nighttime ritual by locking oneself in a dark bathroom in front of a mirror, uttering Bloody Mary, and spinning around 3 times with 2 candles in hand. If the ritual succeeds, Bloody Mary's ghost will appear in the mirror and may foretell the future for 7 years. However, if the ritual fails, a cruel fate awaits. Depending on the variation, you might lose your nails and start bleeding, fall into a coma and die after 4 days, or women could face issues with pregnancies like miscarriages or deformed children. According to some, Bloody Mary takes the form of a pale, cadaveric child, resembling a decaying corpse, while others believe she resembles an ancient noblewoman dressed in red with a swollen belly. It is often believed that Bloody Mary was originally an American child thought to be possessed by a demon and was buried alive by her father. Out of love, her mother tied a bell to her wrist, asking her to ring it to be unearthed, but her father ignored the bell's sound each time it rang and left her to die. When they finally unearthed her, they found the coffin covered in scratch marks, and the corpse had completely stripped nails, indicating the child had tried to free herself before suffocating. However, not many know that the legend of Bloody Mary dates back much further to a famous queen, Queen Mary I of England, aptly named Bloody Mary for her bloodthirsty and cruel ways. She was a ruthless and dictatorial queen who used force to suppress anyone who did not convert to her religion. But her story, like that of many dictators and serial killers, is both chilling and tragic. Mary was the daughter of King Henry VIII of England. In her youth, she was a well-educated girl, and according to the chronicles, she was also very beautiful. She was engaged to Francis of Valois, the Dauphin of France, and later to her cousin, who would become Emperor Charles V. However, King Henry was obsessed with having a male heir, but his wife, Mary's mother, had only given him a useless female heir, good only for arranging marriages with foreign nations. Eventually, tired of waiting, he sought a divorce, which was prohibited by the church. In defiance, he established his own state church, broke with the Vatican, and exiled his wife. For Mary, this marked the beginning of her hellish life. Her father stopped talking to her, married Anne Boleyn, a courtier, and had a daughter with her, Elizabeth. Mary lost her title as heir to the throne, which was given to Elizabeth. To make matters worse, she was forced to serve as a maid to her stepsister. When her father visited Elizabeth, Mary was locked in her chambers and forbidden to see him because she was still Catholic and had not converted to her father's authority. All of this deeply scarred the future queen's psyche, and from that moment on, she harbored a deep hatred for Elizabeth, her stepsister, and for Protestants like her and her father. But King Henry soon grew tired of his second wife as well, who could not give him a male heir, and had her beheaded. He married Anne of Cleves next, who treated Mary more kindly, and thanks to her, the princess and the king re-established somewhat humane relations. After a multitude of marriages and executions, King Henry finally had the male heir he desired but died before seeing him come of age. His son Edward died young due to poor health. At the time of succession, Mary was excluded from the throne in favor of Jane Grey, whom Edward had convinced to name as queen after him. However, Mary managed to seize power with the support of the people. She was lenient with almost all the conspirators who had betrayed her and left them in power. Once she became queen, Mary tried everything to restore Catholicism in England, but this caused popular discontent, and she brutally suppressed several uprisings. From then on, Mary began to hunt down heretics, earning her the moniker Bloody Mary. She used the Inquisition and the Royal Army as tools to crush opposition and was said to be cruel and ruthless. She even imprisoned her sister Elizabeth in the Tower of London, fearing that Protestants might place her on the throne, but no evidence was ever found against her. Furthermore, Mary often had fits of rage, did not tolerate dissent, and suffered from paranoia, Fearing there was a plot against her to remove her from the throne, she would scream and lose her composure in the palace, making many at court afraid of her and even fearing physical violence. Like her father, Mary was obsessed with the idea of having a male heir and thus married Philip II of Spain. Protestants were outraged because not only was he a foreign king, he was also Catholic. Philip never gained real power in England since, by constitution, the true ruler was Mary, and their marriage was dramatic. Mary genuinely loved Philip, but he was cold to her and often left her alone to govern England while he returned to Spain for the remaining years of his life. Mary continued to desperately seek pregnancy. After numerous unsuccessful pregnancies, her belly finally swelled, and the entire kingdom thought that the long-awaited heir to the throne had arrived. Instead, her belly continued to swell, but no child came because it was a lethal tumor. On her deathbed, Mary refused to sign the treaty that would have given full power to Philip II, thereby leaving the throne to her stepsister Elizabeth. Perhaps in her final moments, she had repented, or perhaps she truly considered Elizabeth a worthy queen. Subsequent history painted her as monstrous and cruel, but modern historians agree that Mary anticipated many aspects of Elizabeth's reign, to whom several of her achievements, such as tax reform and naval expansion, were attributed. Mary was primarily hated for her unpopular marriage and the loss of Calais, the last English stronghold in France. As with many dictators and serial killers, a terrible childhood and a poor relationship with parents often lead to hatred and anger. The tale of Bloody Mary, therefore, has a much darker meaning than that of a legendary buried alive child and is inspired by a true story, one that began and ended in bloodshed. So, if you ever attempt the ritual to summon Bloody Mary, remember what she went through and what she was capable of doing. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to the channel for more creepypastas. Until the next one.